and welcome to dHarmic Evolution. Hey everybody, I'm your host, James Kevin O'Connor, singer, songwriter, audio video artist, master storyteller, and international talent agent. Hey, we're close to my home today with a fine Italian songbird who comes by way of Toronto, Canada, then Brooklyn. But her latest digs now have her landed in the Big Apple, New York City. Yes, she studied at the prestigious and world-famous Berklee College of Music, winner of 6 Toronto Music Awards with hundreds of song placements on both TV and in film. She has also shared the stage with Stevie Nicks, Edwin McCain, Kimberly Locke, and Jeffrey Gaines. Her accomplishments go on and on. So let's meet the young lady who is teaching us all about stacking the cool. It's Clara Lofaro. So you better strap up your seatbelts and let's go for a ride. We have got some great news for you. There is a brand new musical act out on the airwaves called Mercy. This is something that you have never heard before. It's spiritual. It's the truth unleashed, with scripture delivered by chaplain Christine Mercy, along with drums, guitars, pianos, violins, and vocals from singer-songwriter James Kevin O'Connor. Yes, a little bit of heaven on earth. And just in time, behold, it's the brand new album from Mercy, titled I Am Victorious. Yes, Jesus came, he saw, he taught, he preached, he healed, he suffered unimaginable torture, and not only defeated the evils of Satan, but he won the entire war for the entire world. And as he stated in the song, I'm going home, back to the throne, victorious, it's glorious. I've many rooms in my Father's house for all of us. It's glorious. Learn to trust in his name. I Am Victorious. The new album is out now and available on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby. Just recorded in the Music City on the world-famous Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee. Download the album or pick up the actual CD copy of I Am Victorious right now on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby. And keep your eyes and ears open for the live performance tour of Mercy coming soon, featuring Come, Amen, Bless You, I'm Afraid, It Is Finished, and yes, the title track, I Am Victorious. Available right now. Go to Amazon, iTunes, or CD Baby and download your copy of I Am Victorious today. And keep your eyes and ears open for the new band Mercy, coming to a venue near you soon. This message is sponsored by the James O'Connor Agency. Well, I'm glad you're here. I've been digging your music, as I was saying to you earlier. Man, you got a great history, and you are the poster child, lady, for all musicians who aspire to do really wonderful things. And I can tell you have put in the hard work and the tenacity and determination that it really takes to carve out a really great career. So I want to just acknowledge that at the beginning and congratulate you on that.
Thanks so much, James.
It's work ethic, right? It's not just nobody comes up and just hands you something and says, hey, you're so great, let me give you this, right?
Right. And I think that it's determination, too. I think that, oh, sorry, you know what? I'm going to plug up my headphones in. I thought they were in. It's determination, too. I think talent can only take you so far. You really have to be determined when you're doing anything in life, but especially something creative, I think.
Right.
You need to really have a lot of vision and determination for where you want to go and what you want to do with it. So
yeah, for sure. So how did it start for you, Clara? Like when you were you a little girl when you got connected to music? Did it happen in your teenage years, or when did it really, the bug bite you and say, this is what I have to do?
Well, I'm going to be really honest, James.
I knew you would be.
Yeah, I've always been a very emotional person, also as a child, just really, really happy and elated and jumping off the ceiling, or really sad and sensitive towards everything around me, looking at the world.
So you're a Cancer?
No, I'm a Taurus.
Oh, you're a Taurus.
My mom's
okay.
a Cancer. I love Cancers.
That's why you're on my show. I knew it.
Are you a Cancer?
Yes, I am.
When's your birthday?
The 29th of June.
Oh, my mom's is the 18th.
Oh, okay.
But I really do love Cancers.
Yeah. Well, we got that same kind of thing that you got going on. It's like there's a lot of highs and lows, more so than in the in-betweens, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened for me was really my parents were immigrants from Italy, and I had a pretty strict upbringing, and I wasn't like a kid that got exposed to a lot of the music that was on the radio and stuff, but at church there was music, and it was mostly in Italian actually for the masses I went to with them, but I sang like so much at church, and then I started my own group at church. I started to sing in harmony with these two other women who are older than me. I was a kid, but I kind of got shoved in there because I was given a solo in the school choir, and I can't tell you, music for me was what made me feel like, oh, okay, I understand life now, and I understand myself, and I have a voice, and I feel connected, and I feel alive. So that was like, it's really integral, I think, to who I am. And I just connected it in such I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like if I have green eyes, which I have green eyes,
right?
I have music, you know?
So how old were you when this happened? Like, and you knew it?
Okay. I think I was 12.
Okay.
11 or 12. Yeah.
That's the perfect age because, it's so real then too, because you're kind of changing and everything's changing in your world and everything you're getting into your teenage years. And so that was probably a really good time for that to happen to you.
Yeah.
And something about the church thing, right? I mean, that is just like, I've heard more people on that, but like the Whitney Houstons of the world, they were all singing and like learning their chops, and they went to school in a way like you did. That's kind of like going to school in a way to learn to sing. It
is. And I guess you're right, because when you're singing, in church, it's like, you're singing from the heart. That's where it all has to come from. It's not even about really anything else. You're not attached to your ego. At least you're not, when you're singing for a spiritual purpose, that's kind of what you focus on. And I can see how that's really good in developing a soulful sound. And
right.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, I think it's time to break it in. What do you say we play one of your tracks? And
sure.
This first one is called Meant to Be. So check out Clara.
Secret in front of is letting you be.
to be. So tell me all about that one, Clara. What was meant to be? Tell me all about it.
Okay. Well, I think that we all kind of have, we can connect it to what we were saying before. If we can get all the voices that we've grabbed onto or held onto throughout our lives out of our heads and get our ego out of our head, there's like that special person that we're all uniquely meant to be,
Right.
And that song is really about letting go of all our insecurities, letting go of the ego, letting go of what people tell us, and really just that feeling when you are just feeling so free and connected. And when you're with those friends or those people who totally get you, and you feel like you're on top of the world and you're not alone in the world and all that good stuff. So
Right.
really that's what that song is about, is just being totally freely and beautifully who you are, without question and without apology.
I think it's so cool. I have this almost like, I don't want to say attraction to you, but it's kind of like, I feel like we're kindred spirits somewhere, because my two sons are half Italian. Maybe that's why.
Okay.
And so your parents were Italian immigrants. So that means you have family in Italy. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you speak Italian?
I do.
Do you really? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I have to learn Italian. I've been looking for somebody to speak it with. So have you gotten back to the old country and visited with people and, relatives and all that?
That's very ironic that you should ask that, because I had gone when I was 8 years old with my family. My dad had us touring all over in a car. Like, he wanted to show us the whole country. But I haven't gone back since then. And I'm going in literally 4 days on my first tour in Europe. And we're starting out in Italy. We're doing Torino, Rome, and Firenze, Florence, as well as Puglia, which is in the south. So,
and you speak it like a true Italian. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
See, that's what I was picking up on, I think. Okay, there's something going on here, because it is really, isn't it like the most romantic language ever?
It's so beautiful.
It's really amazing, yeah.
And Italians put passion into everything they do, pretty much, in a good way and in a bad way.
Yeah, right. Well, the arguments are hysterical,
it's intense,
That's awesome. So your mom and dad, do they live in the city?
They don't. I grew up in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I read that.
My family is in Canada, in Toronto.
Okay.
My immediate family. So I try to get out there a lot, but and they come visit too. But yeah, in New York, I've got a great music community, but all my family is back home.
So how did it come to be that you ended up, you grew up in Toronto, and then music? How did the Big Apple pull you in? What happened that, what was the attraction initially for you? Was it school, or how did you end up down
It kind
here?
of was. I got a scholarship to Berklee College of Music in Boston right out of high school, and
Wow.
I started to travel to New York on this jitney bus out from Chinatown that left, like, it was basically a little tiny van that we all squished together, and it would leave like for $10 that you could take it for $10
Right.
each direction. So I would come to New York, and I was playing all over Boston, and I loved it instantly. Like, you could just go. It just amazed me. You would see famous artists playing these secret shows or in these basement, venues, and all these amazing musicians. Any kind of music you wanted to see, any kind of musician you wanted to collaborate with. I was totally inspired, and I actually partly financial and partly because I just wanted to get to New York. I did the 4-year degree in like just over 2 years,
Wow.
and I came to New York right away. So
Determined girl, right?
yeah.
Nobody's stopping you, Clara.
That's what my dad says, yeah.
You got it going on. Well, that's what you need. You need the drive. And oh, by the way, I wanted to say that I was reading a little bit about, influences and people who you listen to a lot and kind of helped to define your sound. And one that jumped right up was Annie Lennox. And that's what I got when I saw your photos and listen to your music, it's kind of like you have the independent spirit going on. You have that. I know who I am. I don't even have to say anything. You know, it's kind of like there's no discussion about it. There's no, there's nothing that's kind of wishy-washy at all. It's like it kind of get you right away. So tell us about that experience as you started listening to people who kind of like resonated with you. When did the wheels start to spin and say, hey, this is something I'm getting pulled in towards? Do you remember those moments?
I do. I remember artists that did that for me. And they were always kind of artists that, if I really think about it, that became in the pop spectrum, but weren't your stereotypical, I don't mean to put a bad spin on like very straightforward pop, but like they were kind of artists who had something a bit unique about them. People like Annie Lennox and Sinead O'Connor. I remember Tracy Chapman blew me away. She sounded like a man to me, and she just sat there in front of the screen singing her song Fast Car. And I was like, I watched it over and over and over again. And these kind of rich, deep, passionate, almost broken voices. Sarah McLachlan, being Canadian, was a huge one for me too. And they kind of used different parts of their voice. They it was like this imperfect beauty to me.
Right.
And I never saw myself, and I didn't have the kind of upbringing to be like like airbrush, like pop music kind of seems. Right. I wanted to be able to touch the people, and I wanted to feel it in the lyrics. And also those artists, the lyrics are just amazing. And they care about the world too, and people, and about and also just about making soulful, great music. So I kind of resonated with artists like that because I felt like, again, I wasn't alone. I could see myself and understand myself better through them and their lyrics and their songs. And I think that that's what people love about, that's how people do fall in love with an artist and in love with music, is because somehow it's put into song things that you sometimes can't say. And you want to know that you're not the only one in the world feeling that way, or feeling that joy or pain, or, so that's kind of what connected me.
Yeah. Annie Lennox is like, she's really amazing, and your spirit reminds me of her. So you got inspired by these people who are really, really true grit artists, I call them. And one of the things I love about creating art, like musical art, is the poetry facet of it. It's almost like to me, it's a little incomplete without that component. It's like it draws you in, and you seem to have that. You seem to have the ability to use your paintbrush is your melody, and your landscape is your piano, perhaps. Is that your main instrument, piano?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really great, and really dug the video, which we're going to play in a moment too. So, so tell us a little bit about the touring thing. I mean, you've been around doing gigs. Like you have such an unbelievable resume. You have that thing you did with the Disney. Tell us about that. How did you get that gig? That was wild.
That really was wild because you as a musician know this too. You do a lot every single day. To try to connect with your music and to book gigs, and there's just so many different avenues of it. And then there's once in a while these things that just appear, and you get that phone call, and suddenly you're on, the Super Bowl commercial.
Wow, that's something else.
Yeah, it was this private audition, and I literally went in. This is what happened. I went in. And I sang it maybe 2 or 3 times. They recorded me. It was in a studio, live doing it. I sang it once, and he said, "Oh, I love that. Change this." Did it. And then literally in and out 15 minutes, they seemed very happy. So I left, and I thought, wow, that went really well. I could use a break right now. Life's been hard. This is great.
Right.
And then I never heard back. And then a year goes by, and it's like 2 days before the Super Bowl. It was the Friday or something before the next year's Super Bowl. And they said, "Okay, we need you to come into the studio right away and sign some paperwork. They're using your voice. They went to Prague. They recorded a symphony. They're using your voice for the Super Bowl this year, so you need to sign the paperwork." So that's how it happened. And then they used it the next year as well.
So wait, the 2 days before was not for that Super Bowl, but the year coming up.
It was the year later. So
okay,
I
right.
the audition thinking, wow, I have a good feeling about this. That felt really good, which is not something that happens every day,
right.
in auditions. But then didn't hear back at all, and just let it go. But the next year is when I got the call that they had used my demo, basically my audition vocal.
Well, one of the things that happened there was, as my producer in Nashville, Kim Copeland, always says, it's the ones who show up. And you showed up, and you went out and you made yourself available and did the work to show up. And really, that's, again, I just so admire that. Hey, I think it's time for another one. It's time to go to the other side.
Oh,
Here we go.
This could be bad. This could be the best I've ever had. Before I blink, it's a long way down, but I'm ready to fall. I'm not the first one to lose it all. Yeah, I'm coming in hard like a wrecking ball. Won't be the first one to lose it all. If you want, grab on tight, baby, go for a ride. Like a hell collision, I just pray we survive. If you wanna taste forever, can't be scared to die. So tonight I'll follow you to the other side. Come on, yeah, come on, yeah. My rear view's cracked, but it's all I have. I learned how to love from the ghosts of the past, but I swear to you, I'm not looking back. It's a long way down, but I'm ready to fall. I'm not the first one to lose it all. Yeah, I'm coming in hard like a wrecking ball. Won't be the first one to lose it all. If you wanna grab on tight, baby, go for a ride. Like a hell collision, I just pray we survive. If you wanna taste forever, can't be scared to die. So tonight I'll follow you to the other side. Come on, yeah, come on, yeah. Maybe it's a sign I'm losing grip, or finally understand this crazy trip. 'Cause if you wanna last forever, can't be scared to die. So tonight I'll follow you to the other side. Tonight I'll follow you to the other side. Tonight I'll follow you to the other side. It's a long way down, but I'm ready to fall. So grab on tight, baby, go for a ride. Head on collision, I just pray we survive. Let's chase forever, can't be scared to die. So tonight I'll follow you to the other side. Come on, yeah, come on, yeah, oh. Come on, yeah, I know you're scared, baby, but I'm right here. Can't do it alone, do it alone. Come on.
All right, the other side. So tell us, how did the other side come about, Clara?
I wrote that song with, speaking of Nashville, my friend Craig Wilson, who moved from New York to Nashville, and we do a lot of writing together. And Craig's an awesome writer. He it was his idea originally, but he's also really good at tapping into the artist he writes with. And kind of what I was looking for at the time. And this EP for me, this new EP Push, is really about, and I realized recently my music is kind of like, if I think of the force behind my motivation is, or the motivation behind my music, it's to embrace and empower. It's to embrace and that's show people they're not alone, and then empower to just like help us find that, love ourselves and love each other. So other side is really about when you're in the thick of it. You don't know, you're making choices, you're following your gut, you're in the thick of it, you don't know where you're going to end up. But but it's like, come on, let's go there anyway. Let's do this.
Right.
Nothing's going to stop us now, you know?
Right. So tell us bring us into the studio with how you put your music together. Can you share that with us? Do you have a producer you work with? How do you get your music once you create it? Like, what's the next step for you?
Gotcha. I've worked with a lot of different producers, even on this single EP. There's a few different producers on it. There's about 5, actually. Each song has a little bit of a different influence and producer involvement. For my next album, I really have a vision of getting into, like around the winter time after my touring is done, getting into a cabin and making that album, you know, maybe kind of Nashville style, but, you know, my own style, where I have my favorite musicians in there with me, and we record a full album kind of in the same place and vibe. This oftentimes, because I also write for placements and for other artists, I will do like a song with a producer and we'll work it out, and then I'll do another song, and, you know, this album was kind of like that. It was, I did some in a studio in Manhattan, some in Queens, some in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Keeping it New York, girl.
It's pretty New Yorky, this album.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can't leave because of the pizza. And the you know, and the peanuts, you know, the peanuts in Manhattan.
I don't know if I agree with you on that one. My mom makes really good pizza.
Oh yeah, well, I'm talking to an Italian girl. Yeah, you guys got it all down, you know, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I had a friend of mine come in from the West, and we met like one day and was discussing music business, and I said, well, do you want to get on the road right now? He goes, I didn't come all the way to Jersey without having that pizza, man. He goes, you can't get that kind of pizza out West, you know.
Right, totally.
Something about the Northeast and pizza, you know.
Yeah.
You know, before this interview is over, I am definitely going to get some free Italian lessons from Clara. Right back to the interview after this. Are you a singer-songwriter, artist, or author? Are you in need of a platform for your career? Well, the James O'Connor Agency is in the business of helping you broadcast your global career. If you are needing to expand your presence in a big way, such as having your music and your voice heard around the world, well, look no further. We have the platforms here to help you catapult your career like no one else can. Your artistry can be featured around the world on the James O'Connor Agency YouTube channel. Here at the James O'Connor Agency, we can expand your global career by being a featured guest on dHarmic Evolution for singer-songwriters and everyone in the entertainment industry. Or The James O'Connor Show, designed for authors, speakers, and thought leaders. Both shows are international radio, TV shows, and podcasts. Go to thejamesO'ConnorAgency.com and find out what we can do for your global career right now. So that's really cool that you are able to embrace the talents of other producers, because I think you get a different spin every time, right?
Yeah.
And different influences. So your music is always like gyrating and moving into ways I bet you never imagined.
Yes, that's for sure. True.
Yeah, that's the best. I think the surprises are the best part of it, because, you know, you go into the studio and you like, sometimes you just have like, you know, unbeknownst to you, this preconceived notion pops into your head. It's like, I think it's going to sound like this. And it never does. It's always like, wow, this is better. This is so much better. You know, I never dreamed it would be like this.
Right.
So do you want to share a couple of names with us, or like? Oh,
sure. Producer? Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of collaboration. I was going to say that you really,
and most musicians or most producers are musicians anyway, or you know, so that's like the best part of that, right? They understand your world.
Totally. Yeah. So the producers, it was just so much to mention. So, on the title track, Push, I did it with my bassist, Jordan Scanella, amazing musician. And then Josh Sadlier Brown is a Canadian producer, actually came on board, and also contributed to the production on that song. Josh also kind of oversaw a lot of songs on the album. So he put on a show, and he did Born to Love You, but I had also produced worked on some of the original Born to Love You version, which is called B2LU on this EP in Germany. I recorded it in Germany with a producer, Christian Lohr, so it's kind of both of their influences there.
Right.
Other side was by Bart Michael and David Veslaki. Meant to Be, David Cerullo and Bart Michael. So as you can see, and then I Wanted It All, which is just the live, the acoustic piano ballad. That was me and Scott Chaslin on this piano, actually, recorded. That was a home recording, just a very intimate and real.
That's not an upright grand, is it? It's
no, it's a baby grand.
Oh, it's a baby. Oh, wow. I didn't see the back of it. Nice. A Yamaha. Yeah. Awesome studio decor you brought in for this broadcast. I love it.
Thank you.
You just hustled that piano in for this show, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
and then, maybe I'll play a few notes on it later.
Yeah. Okay. You could do that, Hey, tell us about touring. Tell us about the experience for you personally. Do you like travel, touring, the whole scene, that whole deal?
I have to tell you, I love touring. It's harder, everything that comes before it, all the promotion and all the booking and all that is, I think when people think of being a music artist or musician, they don't understand kind of the work that goes around it. And it's kind of like, oh, you just show up and play, right? You don't have to do anything
Right.
There's so much in my everyday to make what happens happen.
Right.
Between the business and the practice and the rehearsing and the arranging and the writing and my head is spinning just thinking about it. But when you're on the road, on the other hand, you're really focusing just on those shows, doing your very best, keeping yourself healthy. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Connecting with fans, letting people know the next place you're going. It's such a focused thing, and I actually feel so free and wonderful to be able to just do my art and focus on that, do my work, my art, however you want to call it, and not have to get a little bit of break from all the extra business stuff and the extra stuff that I have to deal with on a daily basis. So
do you feel like a switch happens, when you all of a sudden you're on the road? It's like, wow, I've just disconnected from my other life completely, and I'm doing this now. Yeah,
because you put so much work into making that happen, and then when you're there, you want to make it the most effective, wonderful, beautiful experience for everyone, and you want to put on your best performance. And to do that, as you know, again with the dHarmic evolution, it's like you really have to evolve and plant yourself. And I meditate too. And just be very, very present. If you want to have a good performance, you have to be very present. So.
Right. So I suspect you practice self-observation.
Yes.
And self-awareness. Yeah. Yeah, I'm big on that stuff. I've been doing that for years. It's so important, though, when people embrace that and realize how powerful it is for you. It enhances your life in such a great way.
Yeah.
You also mentioned you take care of yourself health-wise. Does that include workout, or what exactly is that? Eating right, the whole thing?
Yeah, I try to run in every city I go to. Kind of do that. I do yoga. I do my vocal exercises, and I have my rituals for that because I do a lot. I sing very high. I have a very high belt.
I've heard that. Yes.
So in order to keep my voice healthy, especially when you're doing long sets and stuff, and you're traveling from place to another, and you're not always sleeping, the most comfortable way, I have to really, rest my voice and also do my warm-ups and avoid certain foods and alcohol and stuff. But yeah, I try to, because you're also sitting and traveling for a long time, I think between the running connects me to the place I'm in. So
Right.
When I get to a city, if I can just go for a jog and breathe in the air and kind of plant myself there, it also helps me to connect in that way. And then the yoga is really good for stretching things out and just.
So you're very disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be that way, right? Because the road can be like just a cruel commander, if you will. I mean, it's like,
it's true.
Right? You're eating crappy food, and just because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, it's there and I'll just eat it, So.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that the other experience I've had when I don't do those things, because you have to think, you do the show and then you're in a club with alcohol. It's very loud. Usually afterwards, music is probably playing in the background. Everybody wants to talk to you, and you end up hoarse at the end of the night a lot of the time. So. The opposite of not taking care of yourself and eating all the junk and just going with it and doing a lot of drinking and stuff, for me, is that I lose my voice halfway through it. Yeah. And I didn't do all this work to lose my voice halfway through it.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. I got a couple of things. First of all, yoga is I do four times a week at least for 12 years now. I've been doing hot yoga. I did Bikram for 6 years. I do vinyasa. I'm going in the city in next week, and I'll be on the Upper East Side. I'll be hitting the Bikram studio. Nice. But one of the things that I always had a challenge with is, getting up, and I'm one of these, like, I start really slow, but once I'm warmed up, I can sing 5 sets. I can just keep going and going. But what I have a challenge with is speaking to people in a loud club. I'll lose my voice from the screaming.
Yeah.
So it's so weird, because when you're singing, you're controlling everything you're doing. But when you're just trying to converse, I guess because you're on one wavelength and you just burn out,
It's true. And when I can, I try to change the setting. Like, if I really feel like it's not conducive for speaking, and I can say there's a back room, or let's go outside, I will literally, at a certain point, I'll say, hey, it's nice out. Let's go talk on the sidewalk,
Right.
I think it's necessary, and you're right, because you also physically don't notice when there's loud music going. You don't notice how much you're pushing, and I'll also do things where I'll hopefully, they're not offended by it, but I'll speak in people's ears instead of, shouting at them straight on.
Well, so. I'm starting a clinic for that, because I've made that observation for a long time, and I say, people do not know how to communicate to somebody in a loud club. They go up to them and they scream in their ear because they can't hear themselves. And I'm always like teaching somebody, I'm going, no, you just have to whisper in my ear, because your voice is right here. Your lips are right next. So you're shredding my ear worse than the band is.
Totally. Yeah, if you get close enough, you can just speak to someone and they should be able to hear you.
Yeah, people don't get that. Hey,
you also don't want to get close to every single person either.
No, that's when you start signing. Even if you don't know, you just go away, It's like one of those. Hey, tell me about social media. Are you I think I connected to you on Instagram today, but obviously you're doing social media. What are your favorite platforms? What do you find is your jam?
I really like Instagram. I'd say Facebook comes second, because you get to create events and communicate in a way that you can't communicate on Instagram. Right. But I love how visual Instagram is. And I just have found that I connect best. Like, sometimes when I wake up, I'll set a certain amount of time to connect, because I like to focus on what I'm doing. So I'm not constantly online on social media. I'll schedule a time kind of early in the day and later in the day if I can check back in. Sometimes it's just once a day. But it's really encouraging. I have to say, when you share a video or a picture on Instagram, and I've just connected with some amazing people, and they say such wonderful, encouraging things. And, you never know what I'm dealing with in that moment when what part of the tour fell through, or what is happening. Right. And then, these people saying, oh my God, I love your voice, or this or that, or this lyric makes me feel this. I can't tell you how I'm connecting to this. And it's so encouraging. It's so wonderful when it kind of gives you a sense of purpose when okay, I'm not just doing this for myself. People are digging this, and when I share this, it also it brings someone else joy. So Instagram is kind of my jam, if I had to pick one.
Right.
And then Facebook comes second. I'm not really a Twitter person. I'm not. Right. Not into that.
I have a Twitter account. I never look at it. It's like,
me too.
But I have people helping me with that, which kind of takes care of that. But I do personally do the Instagram, because I feel most of the people that do that we do are on Instagram, and I connect with so many musicians there that I feel like it's a very relevant and necessary almost platform, and Facebook, of course, too, because I get to check in on family and friends, and hopefully I stay away from the political content there. But, that's like kryptonite to me. I stay away from that. So tell me, what is big for you this year? What's going on that you're most excited about, looking forward to? We're still early in 2017. What are you most excited about looking forward?
I'm very, very excited about my first European tour that's coming up in a few days. That's a big leap and step for me, and I've been really enjoying working with Angelina out of Germany, who's kind of managing and booking and all that. And so it feels right. I love culture. I love learning about other cultures. I love that I'm going to Italy as well, which is part of my roots. And I'm just excited about that experience, because every time you travel somewhere new, you connect with people from that area, it's like you learn so much. I mean, it's just like, oh, wow, they resonate in this way, and they like that kind of thing. Here in New York, they like this kind of thing. And, it's really different. People are just different around the world, and I love learning about people. So I'm excited about this new touring chapter, adding Europe to the bag. And
it must be so exciting, because you're going home, too, which is kind of nice, too. It's kicking off there. It's really great. Hey, I want to play, this is going really fast, but it's time to play the title track, this video. I really love this, because you're playing piano on this, I think, if I remember correct. And this is called Push, the official music video. Here we go.
I pushed you, baby, too far. Pushed you away till it left a scar. I wonder why you didn't stay. I wonder if you'll be back someday. The winners spin around in my bed. It's so cold, my dreams are frozen. Nobody to push away. So I make up this scene with you here next to me. Saying push, 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 baby. Push, push, push till you see. Push, push, you mean to me. Push, push, push me. I'm brushing all the dust out, living a way that makes me proud. Feel like someone handed me a different end to my story. The spring is growing up in my head. It's so bright, the fear's almost dead. Nobody to push away. So I make up this scene with you here next to me. Saying push, 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 baby. Push, push, push till you see. Push, push, you mean to me. Push, push, push me. What if we breathe and then push till we work it out? No matter how hard we try, there'll always be doubt. We'll let it go. We just explode. No matter how hard we push, it comes down to the winter's more than I'll understand. Too much fear and love to defend. No sense trying to push away. Live on this scene with you here next to me, saying push, 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 baby. Push, push, push till you see. Push,
All right, so what a video. This is, I love it on the rooftop here. You got everything about you, Clara, packaged into this video, which I love. You know, you've got the piano's there, you're writing, you're doing your jam. So tell us about the making of this and actually writing the song. Tell us about what Push is all about.
Ooh, okay. As for the song, I'm pretty good at finishing songs that I start and getting them recorded. I wasn't so good at that with this song. I wrote this song a few years ago. It was New Year's Eve. I had just moved into my basement apartment in Brooklyn after a pretty significant breakup.
Okay.
And I was sitting on my bed on New Year's Eve, pretty bummed out, and I wrote the lyrics and melody to Push. It was kind of, as you said earlier, it was kind of a poem song at the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I wrote that one. And then I got with Jordan, who's the co-writer and producer and my bassist, as I mentioned earlier, and put the music to it. That's just how it happened. Oftentimes I do the music myself, but this time I had written it in a certain way as a poem song, and I don't know, I wanted to share it with him, and we did that. And then never did anything with the song. It just sat there. And then I just really felt a calling to finish this song for this EP. So he actually had started to get into production stuff at that point. So we started to produce it together in that apartment where the video is filmed.
Right.
And then we got together with Josh Sadlier Brown to finish it. But the video, we filmed in the same apartment that we produced it and recorded it in. So that's Jordan's apartment. I was actually living there as his roommate for the past year, and that was my piano in there, in the video. It's still there. It's too hard to move a piano, so I've moved, but the piano's still there. And we just decided to make a really, because the song is so innocent, vulnerable, fragile, and sincere, like we wanted to make a video that felt very homemade too, and it kind of reflects my story about living in Brooklyn and since I moved here, and kind of having it. Most of the songs I've written in a while have been in Brooklyn, so we kind of wanted to represent that. And I was moving out of Brooklyn. That was the plan. So I wanted to kind of, it was this like farewell for me.
Yeah. Let me ask you about writing. Since you're a pianist, and a very good, gifted one, I could tell. Do you have an ancillary method? Do you pick up a guitar? Do you just sit with a pad and write? Like, what's your preferred method of creating songs?
Okay. I started out, when you mentioned poetry earlier, when I was a kid, I had my first poem published when I was 12, and I was like writing poetry. I thought of myself as a writer. So it really depends on where it's coming from for me. Yeah. I love just sitting at the piano, and sometimes I'll just be playing and something will happen and I will write a song that way. Other times I don't have access to an instrument, but I'm feeling something and I want to start writing. So I'll start writing the melody and lyrics. It doesn't really work for me most of the time when I just write lyrics, when it's not connected to a melody. Right. It's hard to then transfer it in a way that feels like it sticks. And then sometimes I have written a few songs on guitar. Sometimes it'll be with the guitar. I don't feel as free on the guitar because I'm not as great of a guitar player. Right. But I can write on it. It really depends on the song. But I'd say most of the time it's either at the piano with my little notepad. I do like to write instead of type. Write stuff out, or my writing book, or it's just the lyrics and the melody. And really, because I really believe in strong melodies and lyrics and hooks, and not in a formulaic way, but in a if this can stick. I kind of believe that in every part of the music. Like if it feels good and you remember it and it feels special on its own, whether it's an instrumental theme or whether it's a melody and a lyric and how that works together, how the word sings and how it just comes out. I think that those are all really important elements of songwriting, the instinctive part, as well. Yeah.
One, you just mentioned something about writing too, which I really it's a favorite of mine too, is to actually push the pen. Don't be afraid to take out, and I have notebooks everywhere. Like like they're in my car, they're all over my desk, they're up in, next to my bed. And I don't go anywhere without a notebook. I'm always writing. And I think there's something that is lost on, just typing all the time. Yeah, it's convenient, and maybe it's a little bit more in the way of organization and everything. But people should not, discount the power of what happens to you psychologically and how it connects to your brain when you actually physically, write, with a pen or a pencil. So that's great that you're doing that. You're a true traditionalist, I think.
Thanks.
You want to play a few notes on the piano for us?
Oh.
You feel brave? Go ahead. Give us a couple bars.
Oh, I don't know. What do you want me to play?
Just whatever's on your mind. You can just jam something out, anything.
I have this new song. I don't even know if I'm there. Am I?
You're there. Yeah, we got you.
Okay, it's hard to do this with, I'm going to take one ear off because I can't reach the piano. I have this new song called I'm Gonna Live that I've been working on. I haven't recorded it or anything, but
cool.
I can play a bit of that.
Yeah.
Till it's all forgotten, I won't quit. I've already lost it all, around 1,000 times. I'm smiling through the wreckage, gracefully falling through the air. I'm gonna live my own story, full of glory, full of nothing. I'm gonna tear out the pages, and I'm gonna live, gonna live, gonna live. I'm still working it out, but that's something like that.
That was great. I mean,
hold on, I don't hear you.
I know.
Back on.
We lost the headset for those of you who are on the podcast feed.
What did you say?
Now I'm just telling people that for those who are on the podcast feed, that Clara lost her headset, halfway through that. But I tell you what, the modulation was great. It still sounded great. Great song. What's the title of that song?
It's gonna be called I'm Gonna Live.
I'm Gonna Live. I loved it. It was really, really good. And thank you for being such an improv. That was really awesome. We had no idea we were going to do this, but we had to throw it in there. So, so how long have you been working on this? And this very fresh, really new, or?
Yeah, it's really fresh. I started to write this song poem again. When I moved to Manhattan, one of the things that happened was that the people below us don't, the piano is too powerful for them or whatever, and they're not into music. So
that's
really, it's not good. It was really hard for me.
Oh,
really
man.
So I started to write this song poem, which I haven't put to piano yet, called, I don't know if it's going to be called Hole in the Floor or Secret Seed. But
I like Secret Seed. That's really pretty cool.
Yeah. I could sing you a few bars of that, but we probably don't have time for it.
Well, I want to get this other one in because this is one we gotta play this one because I really love this one. It's called I Wanted It All. Here we go with Clara. Check this out.
The thought of flying was good enough while we were crashing. I had an addiction to the way you trap me in. You're ugly to me now. You were a facade. There is real to what we are. You're mighty on your stills, you balance on your lies. When I hold you to the light, you're fighting for your life. And now that it's gone, I can't forget that it made me high as I could get. I wanted it all, couldn't handle less. I wanted the free fall into happiness. I wanted to burn everything at stake. I wanted it all, or all I could take. Promise to rescue from the hell that I was living. You fit the memory of the one I had to win. But all that was good was an amazing lie. Obsessed with the light, you couldn't let it shine. Your venom's pouring out, I catch it as it drowns. I'd rather take a fall than feel you crushing down. You took it way too far, but not for long, 'cause you're a criminal and my will is strong. I wanted it all, couldn't handle less. I wanted the free fall into happiness. I wanted to burn everything at stake. I wanted it all, or all I could take. I needed a taste to know it was bad. See, I had more than I thought I had. And now that it's gone, I can't forget that it made me high as I can get, high as I can get, high as I can get, high as I can get. I wanted it all, couldn't handle less. I wanted the free fall into happiness. I wanted to burn everything at stake. I wanted it all, or all I could take. Hey.
All right, so I wanted it all, and who doesn't, Clara? Who doesn't? Tell us about that one.
Yeah, it's a good hook for that reason, right? Because we can all definitely relate to that. I wanted it all.
Yeah.
That was definitely sometimes
emotional.
we don't see. Yeah, sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us because we think that we need something else. You know,
Right.
We want it all, but actually we have it all if we could connect to the people in our lives and to who we are and what we're doing. And that was, a pretty big mistake I had made. I think I went on, and sometimes, you go on this adrenaline rush in romance,
Right.
Yeah. And also in other things, and life, music, all kinds of stuff. But you go on this in your dreams. Sometimes you go on this adrenaline rush, and you think it's good for you, but there's usually a crash after that rush if it's not a healthy situation. And that's what that was. It was it was pretty unhealthy. So.
Yeah. But you know what? Some of us make those mistakes like 2 and 3 times, over and over again.
Oh, wait a minute. You're not alone there.
So, and it's like, wait a minute, when am I going to learn this? Like for the final time, and it's like, God leaves the breadcrumb trail for us. And sometimes we don't follow it. We just, we follow our own. Yeah.
We want to stay in that pattern where we do make those same mistakes again and again. And the challenging part is, like you said, checking in with yourself and being able to know when the rush is a healthy, good thing. And when it's like, no, that's going to crash and burn.
Right.
That's like not real.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think a lot of us do that, like have a habit of attracting the wrong people into your life. And, it's like, it's not, you don't assess it as, is this good for me? You assess it subconsciously as, this is familiarity, which is very different. But so you would, you don't make the distinction in your mind. So all of a sudden you're, I've done this again,
Yeah. And you know what else? It's that when I wrote that song, it was also this frustration of feeling, damn it, am I here again? Like I was so tired of feeling misunderstood.
Right.
But then, if you don't come back, if you just point the finger outward, you don't get anywhere. So it's like, well, of course, if you're choosing the wrong people, and if it's wrong person and wrong situation, if you're not honoring yourself, and then you're gonna be misunderstood because it's not the right situation for you.
Yeah.
And so that was a big lesson. Like, I was kind of like, after the pain, within the pain, just like, man, I've got to learn from this time. I can't do this again.
Right, but you do feel that cathartic exercise is so valuable, right? Like once you put into a song, there's a certain amount of tension and pain that releases from your body, and
absolutely.
say, "Wow,
and
I can move
what's
on."
Happening?
Yeah,
like if you really just connect and let it flow through you, it's not even totally coming through, and you like write the song, and then at the end, it's just like, oh my God, the pain is gone from my chest. I can.
Right. I can breathe
take
again.
A big breath.
Right?
Yeah. It's
you can just go into downward dog with complete disregard to everybody. I'm fine. I'm in church, but I'm in downward dog. I don't care. Hey, so this went really, really too fast, but we got to wrap up now. So listen, we're going to put all of your social links in the show notes so people can click on and get to your brands and support you socially. But give us your website so we can support you, purchase your music, and know everything about Clara.
Great. Okay. It's claralofaro.com. So to spell Lofaro, L-O-F like Frank, A-R-O. And you can see everything on there. My bio, videos, when I'm playing next. Join the mailing list and you get a free download actually on my website. So.
Excellent. This was really, really awesome. What a surprise this week. We got through the technology issues. Yay! We slayed it. Yes, indeed. Clara, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to have you on the dHarmic Evolution. I wish you all the success in Italy, your tour, and the world.
Oh, I appreciate it. Same with you.
Do you ever wonder why you were created and what you're here to do? Then the geography of the soul will help you to find your true place in this world. The music is so inspirational, including tracks such as I Wanna Be Loved, State of Grace, and Ride On. James Kevin O'Connor is an internationally acclaimed singer, songwriter, music producer, entertainment agent, TV star, and a loving father who leads you to find your true place and calms your mind and soul in breathtaking ways. Buy Geography of the Soul today by James Kevin O'Connor at iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, jameskevino'connor.com. Geography of the Soul, a beautiful CD that you need to own today, by James Kevin O'Connor.
Sponsored by the James O'Connor Agency. Meant to be. Other side. Push. I wanted it all. An artist that has total commitment to her art, She has done so much in her short life. Love the stories, and a pleasure to get to know all about Clara and her musical world. Hey, you can check out Clara on the dHarmic Evolution website, now being downloaded and listened to in countries all around the world, and we're just beginning to crank things up. We're now in 65 countries. Hey, you should head over to the dHarmic Evolution Facebook community. If you have not been posting on there, you should be. Lots of artists around the world are starting to post musical content on there, and we welcome you to do the same. Yes, and it's all happening via the James O'Connor Agency, an international talent agency designed to broadcast your global career. Hey, the agency website is up and running. No matter where you are in your career, we have packages to enhance and broadcast your global career today. Stop by and visit the site to find out about all of the awesome packages we have designed and developed to broadcast your global career. Do you need funding on your next album project? Well, get over to the JamesO'ConnorAgency.com. Find out what we do for singer-songwriters, musical artists, as well as authors, speakers, and thought leaders. That's it for me today. I'm your host for the dHarmic Evolution, James Kevin O'Connor, singer-songwriter, audio-video artist, master storyteller, and international talent agent. So until the next time when we meet again, I'll either see you on the socials or I'll see you on TV.
You say you like my humor, my passion and intellect, positive social grace and confidence. I communicate like a 5-star general with grand command. And the way you look at me, hey darling, I'm in demand. You told me that you just read my book. I asked, what's it called? Let's have a look. You laughed and you said, it's not your heart that's up for play today. So I stood up straight and turned 51 shades of gray. This is my sexual serenade to you. 51 shades of gray I'll turn for you. This is my sexual serenade to you. 51 shades of gray I'll turn for you. You showed up at my door in a tight blue skirt, the one I adore, then you started to flirt. You pulled off my shirt and with a trembling voice I clearly heard you say, I'm dying for you to turn 51 shades of gray. This is my sexual serenade to you. 51 shades of gray I'll turn for you. This is my sexual serenade to you. 51 shades of gray I'll turn for you. Don't hide from the animal deep inside. I know what you want, so don't be shy. Turn the lock on that door and I will give you all that you have been satiating for. Head down on your knees and show me how you wanna play, and watch me turn 51 shades of gray. This is my sexual self.